Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest Agile Boston podcast. I'm Joe DeAngelis, and I'm here today with a very special guest, Jorge Quintela, coming to us all the way from Portugal. And on June 25th, George is going to be talking to us about Scrum in the age of AI.
Thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here, guys. Can't wait for it.
Okay, George, so welcome and thank you so much for accepting our invitation to present at Agile Boston. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay. So I'm Portuguese. I have a technical background. So as a software engineer in the beginning of my career, I had the pleasure of working in mixed environments from startups to big corporations. And there was a time where I was introduced in a startup to agile practices, Scrum. And from there on, I got curious and I said, well, what is this? And from there, the curiosity grew and I eventually became a Scrum Master. Past the years, I started going more in the scaling part, more as a coaching partner, and then I actually took benefit of the whole technical background and said, well, I'm okay in my technical skills. Let me start developing my soft skills. And it was really a nice journey. And in the past, would say 15 years, I've been helping organizations however I can to help them find their way to become more efficient, more collaborative, and to actually make what we call work a bit more fun and not just repetitive, inefficient numbers. So yeah, I like to have this whole approach of empirical connected to the human part in a way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's actually funny you say that your career path is very similar to my own, starting out on the technical side and then building those soft skills. So that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's
And
nice. I hear that lots of coaches do that, or lots of people started from the engineering part or the IT part. They started having fun. They experimented a lot with what we call these practices, and then they started to, well, it's time for me to start sharing them. Uh, it's kind of
yeah,
a pattern that I see.
that was the same thing I felt is that now that I figured this out, I bet you other people need to find this out too. Let me help them.
It's not always about the process and the efficiency to get more numbers in place, but also considering the human part, because
Right.
you cannot separate. I mean, we're going to talk about AI today, but I think there is where we cannot separate our human experience from actually the results. There's a connection that's very strong there because we do things for humans and we are humans producing it. Eventually, machines will start taking over part of it, but it's for us still. So we are still the big variable in the equation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you teased a little bit about your topic, so let's get into it a little bit. So, it's a really exciting topic. I love the title, Scrum in the Age of AI, Reimagining the Empirical Process for a Changing Future. And of course, I love it because it's right aligned with our theme for this year coming out of our last Give Thanks for Scrum, which is what is the future of Scrum? And so what inspired you to come up with this topic?
Well, for me, I think it's a topic that's actual. It's 2025. It's something it's a pattern that we're seeing all around in the industry of agility, of ways of working, that people are a bit, let's put it, worried or challenged with what's coming next. And of course, as humans, we do not like a lot of uncertainty, especially when it comes to our personal parts, so our work, well, and this is coming as something unpredictable, uncertain. So it's kind of part of our empirical process now to figure out a way to adapt. So I thought this is a really nice topic to talk because even I am in this situation. Okay, where do we puzzle ourselves going forward? So start from the point that we are having AI, or we're calling machine, or machines are starting to think, are starting to come with more answers. But what we eventually ask machines most of the times is to collect data, to do things that we don't want to do because they're repetitive. And machines are very good in doing those things. Now, when it comes to interpreting what we want as humans, those intuitive decisions, those judgments, well, machines are not there yet, I would say. Maybe they will be there one day, but we are kind of very unpredictable beings. We
Mm,
never know why things trend, but suddenly there's a trend, there are new things coming. And eventually that's part of our culture, part of our, well, our way of existing. We just change too much and we change by a whole bunch of variables or reasons that we cannot easily measure or quantify. And I think machines are taught, and we teach machines measure, quantify, see the patterns, replicate or reply to that replication. Well, in our case, our behavior, our human beings, it's very uncertain, it's very complex. Even for us. I mean, normally what we do is we try to socially or even economically try to predict and see things, but sometimes we can't because it's even
mm,
complex for us and we're human and we're in the middle of the puzzle. So I
mm,
think that here is where I think the fun starts, because if until now we had to do a lot of the hard work, lifting data, processing, chunking, grouping, and then we looked and then we had to observe, take our conclusions, brainstorm, and then actually act. Now we can have actually machines doing for us all the crunching of the data, gather everything, and then we'll actually be the ones interpreting the data. And I think there are two facts here that are very crucial. First, we need to define very well what we want machines to do for us. So what kind of data, define very well the parameters and goals of what we want to, well, let's say, work on. They will come with a very good, sophisticated report analysis. We need then to interpret it, because as human beings, we'll probably have, and here is, I think, where even the collective intelligence will come. The teams can come because the teams will have different skills and different views, and they will say, okay, we're reading this data, but it actually is a reflection of this because from my experience, this is what it's showing. So when we have that interpretation as a group, then we can come back and say, well, we took a decision, their AI, can you now execute the adaptation? And then,
mm.
by the way, do another iteration, and come back to us with the information. I think here is where the potential is coming. And now, why does this scare? Because velocity of things will be much faster.
Mm.
Eventually, we will be the bottlenecks of the system once we
That's
have to
right.
interpret and do the decisions. But I think that's okay, because machines, we are inventing machines or tools to make our life easier, I would say. Of course, a tool can be used for good or bad, can do good things or bad things.
Right.
It's a matter of who's the driver of the car in this case, that has the good or bad intentions. But I think if you use it wisely, it should benefit us a lot. And I think there's a big opportunity here for us to be the transition agents to support people and understanding that it's a good opportunity, and we might go into the path of understanding where people position themselves to operate these new tools.
Just to wrap up, what are a couple key takeaways that people are going to get from this talk?
Okay. I would say that first is understanding where we position AI in these tools. If you look at the perspective of the why, what, and how, I think here is clear that the how might be taken off our hands. But I think this is a good learning from us. If we understand, okay, maybe it's a benefit. Um, and then I would say the empirical process is not dead, is there. It's going to continue more and more because complexity and uncertainty are here. Now, the way that we're going to use it might shift a bit, but that's okay. We just need to position ourselves in a different way we're using the process. That's one thing that I think it's important to, because we'll have a good conversation here. And then the fact that human creativity and our collective behaviors and insights matters a lot. And I think this is the big key equation where people don't worry, as long as humans are still ahead of the game, we are still the end customers. So at
Mhm.
the end, we will be a big key part of the equation. And I think, of course, we are worried, but this is a big, I think it's an opportunity for us to even step up as a human species. Definitely.
Great, great. Well, we're looking forward to having you. And again, everyone, so George will be speaking on June 25th, Wednesday at noon Eastern. And George, thank you so much for taking the time this morning for this podcast, but also thank you for accepting our invitation. And we can't wait to hear your talk on the 25th of June.
Thank you, George. Will be my pleasure. Can't wait.
And to everyone, take care. We'll see you soon.
Take care.